Alright, I'm going to go over a few simple ambulance basics. I actually had a few people recently, especially some brand new people into EMS, ask me some questions that are some things I realized that you don't really learn in school, and everybody just kind of assumes you know as soon as you start working on a truck, but until you see it and do it for yourself, you may not know these things. So I think it's kind of important to show you a few things about the truck specifically. So we'll start off with your center console, your master console here. Basically everything that's a red switch is emergency lights. I know this sounds very basic and everything, but just bear with me. When you crank up the truck, have it running, your master emergency is going to energize all these other red switches, basically give them power. Without the master emergency, you won't have any emergency lights. So when you run an emergency, master emergency on, you got primary and secondary lights. I'll show you the difference in a minute, but you run primary when you run an emergency. Of course, your module power is for the back of the ambulance. Front beacon, that's your light bar. Rear beacon, that's the light bar in the back. Wig-wag is the headlight flashers. And that other red one is the air horn on here. The black switches, we got a spotlight switch for that light right there. We started adding that power switch because before all you had to do was push the button, the trigger on these things right there. All you had to do is push that in, the light would come on. Well, these lights would get pushed up under the passenger seat and all, and that trigger would get pushed and it would melt the plastic or melt the vinyl floor in the truck. So you gotta have that on. Load lights in the rear. This is a three-way switch. All the way up is on. Middle means it'll come on when you open the rear doors. Down means it's off. Of course, your backup alarm just turns it off when you're backing up. Air horn distress. That if you push that button, it will send a message to dispatch saying that you guys are in distress for whatever reason. AC and heat, that's for the rear. You cut it on up here and in the back. The person in the back can do it. Low voltage alarm disable. You won't ever really have to worry about that, but if you got low voltage and the alarm starts going off, you can push that button and it'll make the alarm stop, but it means you're going to have a problem anyway if you got low voltage. Alright, first siren is pretty simple. Turn it on. RAD, that's radio. You don't have to worry about that because we don't have our radios hooked up to them. PA, of course, everybody knows what a PA is. You can yell at the outside world. Don't do that unless you need to. MAN, manual. That means, well, I need to show you this too. The horn siren switch. All the way forward means you want to have a Chevrolet horn. Middle means you want to have air horns. Well, I haven't built up enough air yet because the truck's cold. All the way down means that the siren is going to be activated through the horn. So when you got it in that position, manual, and you hit the horn, it's not going to stay on. It's just, if you got it down here, one more on PA, you get this. So that's usually how I ride around. My truck has air horns. I leave it in the middle so that it'll go off the air horn. And if I don't have air horns, I put it down siren. Leave this siren on. Leave this one over here so you got the horn instead of the siren chirp. Alright, you put it in HF, horn function. It means as soon as you hit the horn, the siren's going to start by itself and it's going to continue to run. Like that. And then just your different tones, wail, yelp, and yeah. I'm not even sure what that is. Phaser, piercer, I don't know. Phase, I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter what it's called. It's just the 3 different tones. And then this will do the same thing. The manual button, if you got down here, it'll honk the horn. If you got up there, it'll chirp. Alright. You got a second siren down here. And although it's a different siren, it's the same thing. You turn it on, you got your manual. This one's got 2 different buttons, manual. And they're both on horn because of where this is set up. You had it set over here, you get the choice of the 2. Tone 1, tone 2, tone 3. That's the speaker, the volume control for the PA. So you actually got 2 PAs on here. Alright. Then you have a UHF and a VHF radio. Every truck has these now. They work in every truck. You can talk between trucks on these central talk around channels, and you can also talk to hospitals. I think this is the UHF, has all the med channels in it, so you got to know what hospital you're calling, what med channel they're on. And then of course it's got some other services programmed in there. Same thing down here. Your hear, this is your hear system, and if the hospital uses a hear radio instead of a med radio, you gotta know what channel they're on. You know, to call in patient reports and everything else. That's how we used to do it anyway. Everybody uses cell phones now. So that's it, kind of for the emergency stuff. I will show you the difference in primary and secondary. And primary, the sun is really bright, but you've got everything lit up all around the back of the truck. Every emergency light's on. Flip it down to secondary. You don't have this stuff on the sides. You don't have these up front. Still got the wig lights on. And your light bar is flashing in a different pattern. The center one's not flashing. These are still going. And the back's still all lit up. What's the purpose of having primary and secondary? Not a lot. Always run primary when you go in emergency. If you pull up on scene and you're leaving your lights on, flip it to secondary if you want to. It'll save you a little bit of a amperage draw on your batteries. Matter of fact, you can see it right there on primary. We're hitting up to, when everything's hitting, it's getting up around 64. Put it down on secondary and it's not getting any higher than 54. Well, as soon as I said that, there was a 61. Okay, that's actually a pretty important thing, amperage draw. You draw too many amps, you get dead batteries. So what can you do to help stop that? One way, if you leave your lights on, throw it in secondary. The other way, most importantly, is put it in high idle. On the Chevrolets, put them in high idle, apply the parking brake, turn the cruise control on, then you press the set button. There you go. Set fast idle, high idle. That'll help, you know, I don't need to explain it all to you, but alternator turns faster, blah blah blah, you get more power. Alright, take it out off of that, you can do anything. You can turn it off here, you can tap the brake, take the parking brake off, any of those things will turn it off high idle. Alright, so say you did end up with a dead battery. You get ready to start up the truck and it won't. We've got this switch. The emergency battery. It's a momentary switch. You have to hold it down like that when you go to start. That will hook you up to one more battery that is isolated from the main batteries. So if you go to start, it won't because it's got a dead battery. And you just reach down to the side of the seat, pull that button down, and crank the truck. Alright, pretty easy. Let me show you a couple lights that you do need to know. Funny looking one down there with the water droplets and all that. That's the exhaust fluid. If that comes on, you need exhaust fluid. It'll also give you a message in there talking about exhaust fluid. And there you go. It tells you about diesel exhaust fluid right there. You should have some diesel exhaust fluid in your truck in the side compartment here. There's a whole bunch of diesel exhaust fluid. If it needs it, you put one of these nozzles on it. Take it back here. These things can get extremely tight sometimes and you'll need your vice grips to take them off. But you just put the nozzle down in there, fill it up. Unfortunately, there's no way of knowing when it's full until it spews out. And when it spews out, it dries like a white powder. It's crystal-like, and it'll turn everything it touches. It'll coat it in this white crystallized powder stuff. So try and rinse it off if you spill it. Of course, diesel fuel only. Happens several times a year. People put gas in them. Ends up costing close to $1,000 for one tank. If you even put a half tank of gasoline in here, it costs about $1,000 to get it fixed. And let's see, the diesel exhaust filter. There's not a light for it. It'll give you a message in here if the diesel exhaust filter needs to be cleaned. It will say clean exhaust filter. That's what that diesel particulate filter thing is talking about there. If the message comes on to clean the exhaust filter, you got to do it, and you got to do it pretty quick. The way you do it is by driving at highway speeds. Actually, I think you only have to get up to the 45 for 20 minutes or until the message goes away. If you don't do this, if you continue to run just normal stop and go, turn the truck off, and don't clear it out, then the truck will go into reduced power mode, which means it won't go above 30 miles per hour at first, and then if you turn it off, it won't go above 15 miles per hour, and it has to either go to a Chevy dealership to have the regen process done, or we can do it at headquarters now. We have the computer equipment to do it, but that's just easy to avoid by cleaning out the exhaust filter. So say that message comes on and you're transporting, what do you do? If you're going a long distance, you just continue on transporting. If you're going a short distance, get to where you're going, leave the truck on, do not turn it off. Advise the commander that you need to change clean the exhaust filter, and as soon as you go in service, go drive around until it's clean. And that's about it that I can think of for specifics for us and for diesels and running an emergency truck. Alright, thanks.